Had fun dealing with the nuances of solid state drives versus hard drives. If you want to be part of that kind of conversation, then you got to tune in for the live streams. I'm not going to give full context to that just on the stream. I'm sorry. Or on the video, I'm sorry. But today we are going to be dealing with a really awkward Ben Shapiro LARPer. I have only seen, as is usually the case, about 30 seconds of the video, so we're going to see what is being said here. Most of it's going to be pretty much my authentic live reactions to this. That said, we do have to first get into the fan art section. So, first, from the purple box, we have one that was done in a style of an anime. This one is done in a very Dragon Ball Z style, and they have said that they're going to be doing one in the style of every anime that I make a video about. And they have not done Sailor Moon because apparently somebody already did Sailor Moon, which was the last video, if you have not seen already. Next, we have one from Duke Dulcie. Finally got to scanning the sketch fan art they made a few days ago. It is a thumbs up Suris. I really like the nail there. Like, I like it when people do, like, the standard Neko Suris, but they add a few more, like, cat-like features to it. I find it always really interesting, the ones that people choose to add in. With that said, we now have one last one, and it is from ROD. It is a Magateer Suris. So, before I get into the Pride LOL video, apparently I need information from Raz. Okay. I'm in a recording segment. Nobody's dropped $100 on you. Oh my god. Okay. I love you, honey. Jesus. Okay. Pride LOL video. This is going to be one of those, like, pridelol.exe.jpg jokes. That's going to be what we have to pull from this.
Radical left isn't after your children. You're ignoring the fact that they very, very clearly are after your children.
Okay, so we're starting off with a clip from Ben Shapiro saying the radical left is after your children. Okay. That's colored this episode very well for me. That's colored it very well.
So, Nickelodeon actually broadcast, I'm not kidding you, a video from a drag queen named Nina West. The drag queen Nina West performed an original song about the meaning of the rainbow pride flag for small children. Because again, Nickelodeon is directed at small children. It is not directed at teens. Okay. It is not directed at adults.
Wait, hold on. Nickelodeon is not directed at teens? I have a question, guys. Anybody in chat? Which channel did Avatar: The Last Airbender hop on? Which channel? I'm just curious. Because last I checked, that show was definitely aimed at teens. Anyway, with that said, now that everybody knows that it was on Nickelodeon, and one person said it was on Cartoon Network, and I'm very disappointed in you. Okay. So let's go ahead and see. What's the why is this Ben Shapiro clip in here? What is the context? I gotta know.
It is directed at small children.
Well, it looks like that right-wing loon Ben Shapiro is about to say something highly controversial that I don't agree with. Instead of bothering to see what perspective he's coming from or try to counter it, I'm going to very simply go with my impulsive desires to just dislike the video and write an angry comment about how he is a poopy head. After all, I am a high-functioning citizen in the world. I am in no way part of the problem. Who needs counter-arguments, facts, logic, or even structure when you can just yell really loud? Find somebody that echoes your sentiments, and be stuck in your own little safe space.
Okay, so you're talking about echo chambers. If you're... I'm just going to go and say this right now. If you're looking into a YouTube comment section for critique, if you're looking into a YouTube comment section for philosophical argumentation, for anything other than people flinging shit at each other, then you are looking in the wrong place. Much like with Twitter, the YouTube comment section is not designed for effective long-form communication. That's not its purpose. It's meant for really quick bits of analysis or critique on the video that you're on, but when I say really quick, usually people are posting these from their mobile devices, and if you don't believe me, please go ahead and check the stats of any YouTube channel. Most viewers are on mobile. They're writing stuff out really quick, they're dropping it in, and they're ending, because that's what the medium's for. It doesn't mean that that's not a problem. Mind, YouTube comment sections are cesspools. I gotta tell people all the time that if you want to keep your mental health in check, maybe it's best not to look in a fucking comment section. But to label any type of critique, to aim any type of critique at people in YouTube comment sections, unless you're trying to strictly poke fun, probably not the greatest idea. The only times I think that I've actually used YouTube comment sections is when I'm trying to take them as the butt of a joke. Which, I mean, I guess it seems like that's what you're doing here. But, are there things that can be critiqued with Ben Shapiro's statement? Yes. Is the LGBT coming for your children? No. Insofar as they're not trying to abduct them, they're not trying to indoctrinate them in anything, they're merely showing stuff that is slowly coming into the cultural zeitgeist that we accept right now.
Rainbows all around me, there is no shame in.
Okay, nope, we're not going to play this whole little safe space song because it's from South Park, and I don't want to get copyright struck.
There is no way to discuss gay pride without coming into conflict, when you're coming to discuss this with children, without coming into conflict with the reality, which is that it is a sexual orientation, which implies sex.
Not necessarily. So if somebody's gay, that does not necessarily mean that they want sex. It does not always imply sex. This implies attraction. Now, those of us who've been taking part in this kind of discourse for a while, also, hi Shattercat, thank you very much for the follow. Those of us who are part of this conversation every day can probably tell you pretty quickly, there's a difference between romantic attraction and physical attraction. Also, if you want to try to make the argument that you should not show anything showing these kinds of attractions to children of any age, then parents should not be kept within any, parents together should not be within any space near their child, because this would imply some type of sex. I mean, after all, they are attracted to each other, right, Ben? It's a ridiculous fucking position. So if you want to say ridiculous shit, I'm going to counter it with a ridiculous hypothetical. Parents should not be allowed near their children if they are both in the same room. Because that would imply sexual attraction, and then we might have to have the awkward conversation with a 3-year-old about sexual attraction, except that generally doesn't happen.
Which implies you now have to discuss sex with small children.
Sorry.
Again, no, it doesn't. You can show people who are in relationships and merely say, oh yeah, they love each other. Like, the concept of love is not something that gets lost on kids, and it doesn't always have to imply sex. As a kid, when I was like 5 or 6 years old, I decently understood, or at least understood the version of love that had been shown to me in popular media without having to discuss sex. I had no idea what the fuck that was. I didn't know what that was until I watched the movie Species, honestly. You can talk about the concept of love and relationships without having to talk about sex. The idea that showing a loving couple that are gay, or showing people having pride in the fact that they are gay, means that you necessarily have to have conversations about sex is ludicrous. Completely and totally ludicrous. So, well, that was a line I walked into. How's it going, Lunari Valkyrie? How's it going? For everybody in chat, for those who don't know, Lunari is also in the middle of their own partner push right now. For those, actually, some of you in chat might recognize them because I've rated them a few times. All right, Mr. I don't know who you're going to play next. Ben, yourself, or are you making fun of this? Let's find out.
As a representative for the alphabet people, I take offense with that statement.
Okay, so we're just going into reductive mockery. That's where we're at. Okay. Anytime somebody says the alphabet people in reference to LGBTQ people or queer people, or, you know, whatever terminology is within, like, your paradigm, is automatically a signal that maybe I can just dismiss half the things you're saying. Because now you're discussing things that actually affect real people in incredibly mocking tones. I can do that too. And when I do that, people say that they can dismiss what I say.
Well, when you say it like that, you make us sound like we're all pedophiles or at least heading in that direction. And I assure you, Mr. Shapiro, people of the LGBT alphabet peeps are anything but pedophiles. We're not going to explain the reason as to why we're trying to indoctrinate 4 and 5-year-olds into this little phenomenon that we started or whatever the fuck there.
Phenomenon we started or whatever the fuck? I'm sorry, wait, hold on. Did you miss the Stonewall riots? Did you miss that was a thing that happened? I'm sorry, wait, hold on. Everybody in chat's familiar with Stonewall, right? We all know like what happened during then. We know that there was a giant riot, and then this was like the beginning of Pride parades. This is what Pride parades started from. It is a celebration of the emancipation that followed from stuff like Stonewall. Like, this is fairly common knowledge. The next point is when you say, oh no, we're not going to explain why we're trying to indoctrinate children. Okay, so let me explain something very quickly. Nikami-san, thank you very much for dropping 200 bits in as a cheer. Thank you. But if I have to explain another thing real quick, the correlation between gay people and pedophilia, this is a thing that is brought up by conservatives who haven't touched grass in like 3 fucking years. This is a thing that's brought up a lot, and it is always incredibly disingenuous. Moreover, why would you want to explain to children that gay people exist? There's an easy answer for that. If there are, let's say that there are 2 people who have a chance in explaining something to this kid, right? This kid's 4 or 5. They might have to be introduced to a gay person at some point in their life. Maybe they're introduced to their teacher, who they find out is gay at some point because, you know, his husband walks in one day and now they've got questions. Thank you very much for the hydrate, Altmar. Okay. So they might find out that, hey, their teacher's gay. They might find out that one of their friends is gay. Let's say that they've got a friend who's 8 or 9, and this friend is coming to terms with the fact that their parents don't like that they're gay. Whatever the case may be, this child is eventually going to come into contact with somebody who's gay or somebody who's trans, and they're not going to have a preconceived schema for what this is. If they are taught at an early age that gay people are okay, trans people are okay, it is less likely that this child is going to turn into a hateful piece of crap human being as they get older, because that bigotry was never able to be taught to them in the first place. They were taught that these people are completely normal and acceptable early on, and that's a net good thing. To argue that you should not show children that people are gay is to argue there's something about a gay relationship that we can't show over and above a heterosexual relationship. These people generally don't have arguments when a Disney movie show a heterosexual couple kissing, but they are very vocal whenever a gay couple kiss. Because apparently when the gay couple kiss, we have to have conversations with children about sex. But when the heterosexual couple kiss, that never brings up any conversations. Apparently, in some magical world, these 2 things are viewed as differently by a child who has no preconceived schema for either of them.
But I assure you, Mr. Shapiro, there is no way us alphabet people are headed in that direction, or at least alluding to that in the slightest. And now I'm going to proclaim that you are homophobic repeatedly over and over and over again till I gather a small crowd or make it a big crowd, make it the entire Pride Month celebration parade, and we are going to shun you out of society and call you homophobic and cancel you repeatedly over and over again, because big corporation, they know where the money's at.
And I have TV.
Okay. Bri the Sweet, thank you very much for the follow. So the point about the big corporation, we already have had conversations on this channel about rainbow capitalism, right? We've already had that conversation. We know that rainbow capitalism is pandering. It is not the greatest thing in the world, but we also know that it's indicative of a changing social zeitgeist, and that in and of itself is a good thing. Having that kind of representation is a good thing, and there can even be conveniently helpful byproducts that come from that, right? So, secondarily to that, trying to say that LGBTQ people are moving towards pedophilia. a lot of this point, and I didn't mention it before, but I need to mention it now that it's been brought up here. A lot of that was brought on by places like 4chan that started saying like LGBTQP, and the P was lowercase, and this was to try to argue that, oh, they're trying to say that pedophiles are part of the LGBTQ because, well, you can't control any of your attraction. And that's the case for all LGBTQ people, so that's also the case for pedophiles. Despite the fact that not being able to control an attraction is only one of the arguments that support LGBTQ being harmless. The other one being that people who are LGBTQ can necessarily have relationships with people who are not children. Why does that matter? Children can't consent. Informed, enthusiastic consent is required for a relationship and required for sexual intercourse. Two gay adults can have that. An adult and a child can never have that. Leave it to 4chan to ruin everything. There's some wonderful things on 4chan, and there are some abysmal things on 4chan. That is the nature of 4chan. I will say this. As somebody who has been on many a 4chan board, especially B, there is some disgusting shit you can find there. There's also some absolutely wonderful and wholesome shit you can find there. The worst places are like R9K and Pole. Those are the places I generally don't like to be in. But was it also because of NAMBLA? I actually am not familiar with that. I am more familiar with the 4chan posting that led to a lot of this. That is my familiarity with this talking point.
TV people discussing sex with small children and gender orientation with small children.
Gender orientation does not necessarily have to include sex, so I don't see why this is one thing that needs to be gate-kept from children. I actually have a friend of mine. I'm just going to call them Z. They know who they are whenever they're mentioned here. But they were working at a Steak and Shake at one point, and this is a thing they posted on their Facebook wall, and I thought it was really fucking cute. They were very androgynous, and a kid asked them, hey, are you a guy or a girl? And they just kind of sat down and just went, I'm an experience. And like, yeah, haha, funny Steven Universe joke, but also, that's really fucking wholesome. And that's a very just like quick, quippy, and fun way to just kind of go, hey, gender's a little more complicated than just those two things, kid, but I'm not the type of person to tell you today. Like, that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Does this sound like a great idea to you? A drag queen lecturing your child on a bunch of stuff, including, by the way...
What does them being a drag queen have to do with their expertise on a topic? Literally, Ben, I could say, what does you being ostensibly someone who looks white, what does that mean for your ability to comment on race relations? It's stupid when I say that, just like it's stupid when you say this.
BLM, there's like a BLM fist that appears.
That's a fist of solidarity. It appears on literally thousands of different movements that include any type of class solidarity, gender solidarity, sexuality solidarity, solidarity of many types, one of which being pride. Use the fist. It is just culturally convenient for you to bring up BLM because that is one of the more recent movements to use the fist.
Halfway through this particular video. So you get a lecture on the gay pride flag by a man dressed as a woman. And this is going out to 4- and 5-year-olds.
Okay. I like J.K. Simmons as well, but why is this appropriate here?
You serious?
If an adult came into your house, a man dressed as a woman came into your house and started singing to your child about the wonders of various sexual orientations, and your kid's 5, you would call the cops.
Yeah, because somebody broke into my house. The fact that they are a drag queen or the fact that they are singing did not factor into this decision. It's the fact that they broke into my house, Ben! Then again, I don't expect Ben to know much about how houses work, because he apparently thinks that he can sell a house that has already been flooded to someone.
Well, there he goes again, ladies and gentlemen, with that right-wing conspiracy mumbo-jumbo that totally makes no logical sense whatsoever, and we're not even going to acknowledge it, because if we do, it might make sense.
Okay, I can't. I've literally acknowledged every single thing the man has said. I don't think of a point he's made that I have not acknowledged in some way here.
Well, listen to you, Mr. Shapiro. As a member of the Alphabet Conundrum, I will now play a song which accurately depicts my feelings at the moment, and we all know that my feelings are law.
Nope, we can't play the song because I don't want to get copyright struck. So whatever point you're trying to make with it, not going to be able to find out.
Knew this was going to appear on Nick. Really, how many parents were sitting around going, I'll bet that what they're going to broadcast today is a radical gay propaganda video directed at children.
So, Ben, the only people who think this is a problem are people who already aren't informed on LGBTQ shit. Which means likely they are the exact types of people who need to be explained that gay people are okay and normal by a children's cartoon.
By the way, you can be an advocate of gay rights and still believe this is not appropriate for children.
Yeah, you can. There's fucking Blair White who would use that as a grifting mechanism. I don't disagree with that.
Don't you dare try to brainwash me right now, Shapiro. I'm onto your game.
Who's arguing that Ben's trying to brainwash people? What? Where does that come in? I get that, like, the point of the joke here is the absurdity, like the guy has to play up the absurdity, but at the same time, I don't get where you could even physically pull brainwashing from here. I don't.
We all know if we have 14, 15, and 16-year-olds with LGBTQ pride in their bios on Twitter, they've made it in life and we deserve to be very proud of them. Because there's no way we've confused them into not knowing what identity they are at such a young age.
Would you like to know what's not confusing to a kid? Hey, there's men, there's women, and there's people who fall in between. Most kids who don't already have a preconceived notion of gender will just accept that at face value. Let's go, oh, cool, that makes sense. The only time the conversation about gender does not make sense to someone is when they've already been told something other than that. When they've been told, no, it's just man and woman. When they have that ingrained into their brains, then yeah, the idea of a non-binary person gets really confusing. But if they're armed with that knowledge in the beginning, that isn't super confusing at that point.
There's no way that there are going to be any repercussions or consequences of this happening to any of them. And
wait, why would there be consequences to just informing a child about what gender is?
Soon we'll have a lot of confused, pseudo-intellectual twinks telling us what to do and how to handle serious allegations, because that is the future, Shapiro.
Okay, so I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to do an ad hom just for shits and giggles. I wouldn't be the one here talking about confused pseudo-intellectual twinks with your Ezreal-looking ass. You belong in a museum.
And you can't stop it. This is the new generation, not your conservative mumbo-jumbo.
Because it's not appropriate for children. And here's some...
Okay, in what way is it not appropriate for children? The only way that you've brought up, Ben, at least in the clips that have been provided here, which assumably are supposed to be some of the best points you brought up, because they are brought up by what seems to be a fan of yours. The only point you've brought up is that it is inappropriate to talk to a 3-year-old about sex. We agree. However, there's not a scenario in which I could not explain to a 3-year-old that two people love each other. I would be able to explain that to somebody without having to talk about sex. It's easy. They love each other. Disney's been doing this for fucking years. To understand the plot of The Little Mermaid, 5-year-old me did not have to think about the fact that Ariel was growing legs so that she would also have a vagina for the prince to stick it in. That was not a thing that I had to conceive of as a child, because it's not necessary to explain love.
Rather inappropriate material for children appearing on Nickelodeon.
Doesn't it just fill you with pride, showing who you are on the inside?
Okay, so again, I've already had to take a part of a video down earlier because it had a lot of one of the songs from Blue's Clues on it, so I don't want to deal with that. Let's go.
Where the fuck are your parents?
I have small children. Blue's Clues is directed at 3, 4, 5-year-old children. These
And now those children are more educated on LGBTQ issues and gender than you ever were. And I think that's a win.
are small kids. There are no 11-year-olds watching Blue's Clues.
There are no 11-year-olds watching Blue's Clues? I beg to differ. When I was in middle school, One of the things that they would show on the TV is just like filler every now and again. If like a teacher was running late or something, they just pop on Blue's Clues.
Look a tulip in the eye.
Maddie6669, thank you very much for the follow. But, you know, this is a thing. There are people who are older who watch Blue's Clues, just like there are guys that watch My Little Pony, just like there are girls that watch Transformers, just like there are insert stereotype about age or gender here that a good swath of the population exists as a functional debunk for. Sarah Felix, thank you very much for redeeming your points for an Hada Hada, you fucking monster.
And now you have Blue's Clues having its own Pride Parade featuring a drag queen for small children.
Okay. Again, what's wrong with that? The only point you brought up that it was wrong was that apparently you had to explain sex to a kid. Which I already pointed out, you don't need to explain sex to a kid to explain relationships to them.
Tell me this isn't about indoctrination of kids. It's 100% about indoctrination of kids.
Is it? Even if it is about indoctrination of kids, why would it matter? By this logic, it is indoctrination of kids to teach them math with Sesame Street. It's only indoctrination when the information being supplied to your child is something that you do not like. Religious indoctrination is something that I could consider to be abusive and bad, but Ben Shapiro would say, no, that's just parents doing their job.
And by the way, if you think the people who are doing this don't know what they're doing, you're an idiot. Of course they know what they're doing.
Individuals using what people perceive as a righteous cause to do evil deeds? That's unheard of, Shapiro.
Well, yeah. People use individually righteous causes to do bad things all the time. Like, there was I haven't talked about this much, but there was an incident back when I was dating somebody else, and this happened during, like, the beginning of a lot of the BLM protests here. There was somebody who threw a rock at my car, and the person was an African-American. And I made the assumption that, hey, this person might have felt emboldened by the current political environment to just attack a random white person. That's not good. It's bad. People using a good thing, because I consider BLM to be a good thing, for bad, it happens. It's dumb. It's stupid. I don't know if that was necessarily his thinking. I don't know if that's what caused him to think that throwing a rock at my car was a good idea, but it's a thing that happened. People will use good things for ill. What has not been demonstrated here is that a good thing is being used for ill. That's not been demonstrated to any reasonable level.
There's no way this ever happens in the world. This is all for the good of man, the righteous culture that we live in now. Tolerance, love, understanding, respect, and all that mumbo-jumbo that you're against, Shapiro. I will...
Oh my god. Can I get an H in the chat for everybody who's so fucking tired of the "so much for the tolerant left" jokes? Really? Honestly and truly, there is nothing about being on this side of the political spectrum that requires you to be tolerant. Moreover, even if it did, the tolerance paradox pretty much covers this exact scenario. And the chat is, of course, very H. As we be. But I am very tired of hearing the tolerance paradox brought up here.
Now judge you and continue the slander by painting you in the worst way possible to my peers and others.
Ben Shapiro paints himself in the worst way possible all the time. It's just people who think that they're intellectual fuckshits that manage to think that he's smart. There's a few people I could throw in that category. One of them I'll be seeing in a few months.
Masking it behind hate, when in reality it's valid criticism, and dare I say, some points that I couldn't counter without chimping out.
Okay, so I don't think I ever chimped out on any of these points. If I did, chat, let me know. If there's a point Ben Shapiro made that I did not catch, chat and the comment section would be a wonderful place to let me know about that.
I mean, why would I need to counter any arguments when all I can do is call you a homophobe and call it a day, right?
I don't think I've actually called Ben a homophobe in this video outside of, like, substantiating that. But actually, no, I don't. Actually, in this particular video, I don't think I called him a homophobe once. Again, maybe I'm wrong. My memory's ass. Please timestamp the part where I called him a homophobe, if it did happen.
And maybe throw in a little bit of the he's racist card as well to win my arguments.
Didn't do that either. Ooh.
It saves me a whole lot of time and effort by just using those buzzwords to get my way in the world.
Okay, so actually, there's a thing that I want to point out. Maybe this is important. I am not the hypothetical person that this person's talking about. At least I don't think I am. Maybe this individual's gonna find my video and go, ha ha, triggered snowflake, look at you! And then I guess I'll know that they're operating in bad faith because they're just being a fuck nugget. But it could also be that there is a type of person that this person's encountered a lot that uses these tactics, these thought-terminating cliches, instead of trying to properly think through their arguments. I do not deny that that person exists because I've seen that person on Twitter. Not a strict individual, but I have met the types of people who will take everything you say and say that you're racist, or you're a homophobe, or you're a transphobe. Hell, I've been called a violent transphobe on Twitter. And I can't think of a thing that I've done that would warrant me actually having that position. So, I know that this hypothetical extremist person exists. But I don't know if criticizing them within a hypothetical makes any sense.
We already have Microsoft bowing down, as well as the other big corporations where they pretend to give a shit about these people for a month. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. The pride thing is a corporation's just pretending to give a shit. Granted, again, like I said, it's a good thing. Rainbow capitalism is good insofar as it signals where the social zeitgeist is. But yeah, never think that a corporation is your friend.
I mean, our people for a month, and the world keeps going. And then again, Shapiro, there's not a damn thing you'll be able to do about it because the world is coming to our favor. And soon all our dark deeds, no matter how aware you are, will go unnoticed. And
which dark deeds? Is this about the pedophilia thing again? Because again, you'd have to demonstrate that there's a causative principle between being trans or being gay and being a pedophile. It wouldn't be enough for an argument like this to just pose a correlation. You would need something causative.
And once again, there's not a damn thing you can do about it because everybody is so far gone at this point that anytime anybody says anything negative or criticizes it by bringing to light valuable facts that we're keeping from the public.
What valuable facts? What valuable facts? Please present them. You've had 7.5 minutes.
All we have to do is say you're homophobic and bada bing, bada boom, we win every time. I am Alphabet Sen and I approve this message, girlfriend.
When it comes to government, we say, listen, you're an adult, you get to do what you want. But what you don't get to do is indoctrinate kids. And those on the left, they say, you on the right don't get to do what you want, and we're going to indoctrinate your kids.
Wait. So you're saying that the right does not play any role in indoctrinating kids? What is Sunday school, if not religious indoctrination of children? What is television aimed at children that had, like, Adventures in Odyssey, if not childhood indoctrination of children? Like, what are these things, if not that, Ben? It really comes down to there's a handful of things that you want to teach a child, and you think are important to teach the child. And there's a handful of things that I think are important to teach a child. I think it's important to teach a child to love. I think it's important to teach them that gay people exist and that they are no different than you or I. I think it's important to teach them to function in society without hating people necessarily based on either the color of their skin or the merit of their preference. I think that's an important thing to teach a kid. I would be interested, Ben, to see what you think is important to teach a child.
Go marching in the big parade. Come join the fun.
Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
Ha 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 ha! And then he unironically became the Joker, everyone. He became the Joker. That's what happened, everyone. He's the Joker now. Yeah, VeggieTales, thank you very much, Nekami-san. Well, Sen, I guess we live in a society. I guess that's where we are. I had no idea that we lived in one, but you have now informed me that a society is very much what we live in, and I don't know what I would do without that very important information. I don't know what I would do. So I can't believe Ben is Joker right now. Hey guys, this is This is Joker, you know, from Joaquin Phoenix movie. Anyways, you guys, let me know what you thought in the comment section below this video whenever it hits YouTube. If you enjoyed or if you could otherwise tolerate going through all of this nonsense, please let me know. This was a weird one for me. This was a very weird one for me. With all that said, though, for all of you, thank you all for watching. It has been an absolute pleasure. And as always, everyone, insert into video tagline here.